Righto, Teliodo champs. Now this Dell XPS 159510 is one of the best Windows laptops going around, and actually one of the best laptops going around, period. But I'm returning it, and I'll get to why I'm returning it in a minute. And this is not the end of my XPS 15 and 17 journey. Make sure you sub up if you're interested in those two laptops, because I do have an XPS 15 and 17 review unit coming in, so there's going to be plenty more videos on those products. And we'll see what the XPS 17's like and which one I will get, because the unit I have here is the one I actually paid for myself. The one I have is the 3K OLED model. Comes with Intel's 11th generation 11800H 8-core processor and an RTX 3050 Ti. And it did come with Windows Home. And if you want to upgrade to Windows Pro, look in my description. I have a discount code. You can also get offers 2019. Check that out. So the reason I'm returning this is not because it's not a good laptop. It's like one of the best. And if you're one of these people that, oh, okay, it's expensive and I can get one with an RTX 3070 and this and that for the same price or cheaper, well, the XPS 15 is not for you. You're never going to be satisfied that way, because this is going to be one of the best laptop experiences you ever have. The compactness of this 15-inch has to be seen to be believed. When you look at it and all you see is display, and this 3K display is amazing. Pretty much 100% everything. It ended up measuring 392 nits of brightness, OLED. Yes, it does have PWM flickering when you're at the lower light, so if you're sensitive to that, you would know. But it is one of the best displays you're going to see on a laptop, without a doubt. And all you see is display. And I said in 2020, your laptop will look like this one day. Still today, there are no laptops that look like this. All you see is display. And when you go back to another laptop, they really do look prehistoric. It's super clean, really beautiful, ergonomics are ace. The design and build quality is cutting edge and nothing looks like it at the moment. We'll see what happens with the new MacBook Pros. And really when it comes down to it, it's pretty much the same as last model, but you get the 3K OLED display, Thunderbolt 4, 11th gen CPUs, and the new Nvidia graphics. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as the last model. Around that sort of 2 kilos, 4.3 pounds, whatever, same size. 2 Thunderbolt 4s, USB Type-C with DisplayPort, SD card reader, keyboard is amazing like last year's model, the trackpad is one of the best Windows trackpads, sound is awesome, definitely one of the best when it comes to the Windows world, not as good as the MacBook Pro 16 but still very good sound. The battery life is interesting because I could get around sort of 7 hours battery life. I expected with a 3.5K display I'll get more, because that's sort of the same as the 4K model. I will bear in mind that I have Wi-Fi 6, I have really good Wi-Fi, so you probably will get less unless you've got a good setup yourself, but I could get that sort of 7-ish hours battery life, just general use, web surfing. Now I do have a video on gaming performance, so you can go check that out. It's actually quite a competent gamer, this RTX 3050 Ti, especially if you have DLSS. I could game at the native resolution, ultra settings, cyberpunk. This is without DLS, so look, it looks like 8 frames per second. This is ultra settings. No ray tracing, I've got to say that. So 9 frames per second. And we'll just finish this benchmark and we'll see what it's like with DLSS on the native screen at its native resolution. We'll test some 1080p in a sec. Okay, so I can confirm 9 frames per second, ultra settings at the native resolution of that 3K. And have a look at this, DLSS. 37 frames per second now, up to 37 frames, 28 there. That's where there's a lot of lights and stuff. But in here, we're getting 30, over 30. So DLSS on ultra performance, yeah, I can see it's not quite as sharp, but on a small screen like this, really, DLSS, it is amazing. So you got to be happy with DLSS. This now is playable. We're playing Battlefield 5 now, and this could do 58 frames per second at ultra settings. Of course, if you go to high, you'll get over 60 frames per second, but 58 frames per second, Battlefield ultra settings 1080p, woof. I'm happy with that. And as you'll see, temperatures are not really an issue. That's not sort of a thing now with this dynamic boost. The CPUs don't go crazy and try to boost over 4 gigahertz. It's just, yeah, they give most of the power to the GPU these days, and 45 watts on a GPU 25 watts on a CPU with sort of a maximum of 65, 70 watts, it's not going to get hot, right? So you barely ever see it over 70 degrees. And actually gaming like this is bliss because it's under 50 decibels. It's like 49 decibels. So wow, I love that. So you get all the good stuff when you have this 30 series graphics card. So the new NVENC encoder DLSS, and you get ray tracing, although it's not the best for ray tracing. It is a competent 1080p gamer. Check out my gaming review. And when it comes to the CPU boogies. Through Cinebench, we could actually sustain over 90 watts for most of the run, and then it would settle down to its PL1, which is around 60 watts. And the total package is about 65, sort of 70 watts combined CPU and GPU together there. That's the power output it has due to its thermal limitations and also power limitations. But the reality is you're not going to be pushing CPU and GPU 100%, and it gets the job done. And it's not like night and day difference faster than the last model, but it is a nice boost, especially with the graphics, having all the new stuff of DLSS and, you know, NVENC encoders, etc. I will test PCI Express 4 on my review unit, so stay tuned for that. Now let's have a look at this. All green, all good, instant, there's no lag. And what have I done? All I've done is I've changed the driver to the ASIO driver for this device. Specific for this Focusrite, changed it to ASIO, and as you'll see, DPC latency absolutely perfect, all green, and you can see I'm talking and it's like instant. Okay, so that's all you have to do. I feel that a lot of people, that when they're having DPC latency issues, they got it in MME, they're not using the right driver, the device they're using isn't really that good. This thing's good. It's got a good driver, works well. XPS 15, DPC latency, check, all good. All right, so let's get into some video editing. So overall, why am I returning it? And if you watch my content creation review, you'll see that, well, at least for my source material, it wasn't playing back at full, it wasn't exporting fast enough, and that was because Adobe hadn't updated things. And after I actioned the return, of course Adobe updated, and yes, it works. So it is faster than last year's model. Again, it's not 9-day difference, it's a nice little boost. It was around 30 seconds faster, and that's due to the NVENC encoder in all reality. That's output in the same project I've done on my last XPS. Again, I will have another test with the updated Adobe when I get my review unit. Also in Australia, you cannot get the white model with OLED. Come on, Dell, don't do this to me. I need the white model. So anyway, it's a great laptop. You're going to love this thing. I love this thing. We'll see what happens with the XPS 15 and 17. I'll get in the review units. But stay tuned. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Tally ho.